Okay, so here's my solution for the height versus distance lab. I start off with this generic form, and I went through and I wrote my procedure, my materials, changed the independent variable, the dependent variable, height versus distance, and then I filled out the data table by going through. Um, I went through this process where I gradually increased. I started out at 0, fired it at 45 degrees. I had the same angle for every trial and just raised it and then raised it again. And thankfully, the program shows traces of the previous projectile distances. So I just wrote 10.19 for 0, 11.1 for the second one, 11.11, and 11.91 for the third, and so on until I got to, whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to, oh, and by the way, when you're adjusting this angle, it might be tedious if you are adjusting it here, but if you go way out here with your cursor, the further out you go, the easier it is to fine tune the angle. So that's a little tip for you. Anyways, keep going, firing away until you reach the last value, which is 9. And so that gives me this data table. And I'm going to copy that and go over to a Google Sheet and paste it. And you might have to adjust the width of the cells because when you first put it in there, they're really wide. And I went with a width of 30 resized to, or no, I guess it's 50. And then I'm going to also center vertically and horizontally. And anyways, let me select this and go insert chart. And this is generally, you could say you're done right here, but I want to go through and customize it a little bit better. First of all, not the chart style. Let me see, chart title. Yeah, the title, I want it to actually say height versus distance. Height versus distance. And I think I'll go with center, bold, and probably keep the color, but I'll do the size at 20 or 24, maybe even 30. 30 might be good. All right, so here's an interesting point. There's nothing really interesting from 0 to 10. All the interesting information seems to be somewhere between 10 and 17. So I'm going to go down here to the vertical axis because that's this right here. And I'm going to change the minimum value to 10 and watch what happens when you do that. All of a sudden now it's zooming in on from 10 to, and I don't really have to specify a vertical value because it's already pretty much good, but I could put in 16 and, So this is a little more informative to see than the way it looked before because now you can see that it's kind of curving. And you can do all that minor grid lines, major grid lines if you want. That's not the end of the world if you do or don't. Let's see. But that was the main thing I wanted you to see. You could also do it for horizontal. Click, click, click. And yeah, so I would like to see you be able to change it so that it's only showing from 10 to 16. And then you can see more in more detail what's really happening. So that's my solution. You'd want to click here, hit Control C, jump back over here, and put your graph right there. Whoops, didn't do it. Let's grab it again. Let me move this over. Let me make sure I have this. Okay, Control C, Control V. I'll say unlinked. There. Much better. All right, so there you go. And in case you need to see what I wrote for each of these, here you go. Go ahead and pause the video and examine. And of course, notice the question, how does the height, and let me add a little bit more detail, of a cannon affect the distance a cannonball goes? Question mark. Yeah. So there you go. Complete.